Internet has a very good deep reach in Iran. 1 out of 3 people, they have constantly connected to the internet. And the cell phone technologies are being used very heavily in Iran. So the 2009 election was held on June 12th. It was Iran's 10th election after the revolution of Islamic Revolution of 79. The previous president, Ahmadinejad, which you guys heard his name, was re-elected by 63% versus all of the other candidates, 33%. Millions of people came out to the streets. They believed that the election was rigged, and they had good evidence for it, because before the election, people were coming out on the streets, basically cheering their own candidates, and the masses behind the other candidates was not comparable to Ahmadinejad's. After the election, just few countries like Russia, China, and Venezuela congratulated the president on the election of Ahmadinejad. And other people, because it was so doubtful, other countries, they didn't even congratulate them for the victory. So because the doubts were high, like people really doubted this. So the government, they announced that they're gonna count the votes in front of the TV to show the people that it was not rigged and it was a true election. So this is like an image that in Iranian TV showing them counting the votes for people. And this was even more controversial because people are asking how come the votes are not folded? Because when you vote in Iran, you write it on a piece of paper like this, you fold it, and you throw it into the ballot. So this was even made the situation worse for the government. It was another evidence how rigged this election was. Again, after that, millions of people came out on the streets. But there was a big difference between this uprising from anything that we had before, or I think other revolutions in South America and other countries they had, was the movement was without any leader. Like people, they were just coming out on their own, and people were wondering, the government was wondering, how come these people know where to go? Like who is actually behind this movement? First, they accused Europe and America, as usual, that these guys are behind it, and this movement is being directed by foreign agencies. But the way that we were doing it was simply YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. People were going on the streets, they took their cell phones out, take videos of anything happened in front of them, immediately upload it to YouTube, and immediately tweeted out that we are at this location. And other people just listening where the crowd is, and they simply go. It ended up being much more effective than any kind of leadership that it was happening before in the revolutions. It was very effective, but at the same time, the problem was that government actually could cut the internet and basically paralyze the whole movement, which they did. They cut the internet for the whole country for the week that or basically they lowered the broadband speed so nobody could actually upload videos to YouTube or Facebook. And they also completely put most of these websites behind a firewall, so you could not access them from Iran actually. And another controversy came out, not a controversy, but they brutally started killing people. The police were shooting at people from the roofs, at its own people. One of the girls who died, and she was just a bystander, she was just watching it, her name was Neda. I don't know if you guys saw it in CNN. Barack Obama, yesterday, she got the Nobel Peace Prize, and she dedicated it to Neda. That was pretty big. So another, it was in the midst of it when basically it was out that Nokia and Siemens, all of us know Nokia, the cell phone company, they sold wiretapping equipment to Iranian government. And that wiretapping equipment was strong enough to be able to wiretap not only the cell phones but the internet. Like whatever email people sent out, whatever text message they sent to each other about the movement, about coming out, the government actually went after them in a very short time and arrested a lot of people. So this is about awareness. We have to notice about how firms and companies, they actually go against the freedom of people. Like a few years ago, we realized that Yahoo basically sold a big chunk of information to Chinese government about its users. They requested the same thing from Google. Google refused. But still, Google is kind of complying with Chinese censorship regulations. So one important knowledge is that these companies, these firms, these corporations, they cannot mess with freedom, people's freedom, nations' freedoms. There has to be it has to be against human rights. It has to be a human rights violation if a company goes with any brutal government or oppressive government to limit the freedom of a nation. So that's pretty much it about Iranian election. It is still going on. People are still uprising. Every soccer match, every event which is happening in different countries of Iran, people coming out, they oppose what happened. Ahmadinejad, the president, was here actually 2 weeks ago in UN for the UN Assembly. And people around the world, the Iranians around the world, are actually moving against this dictatorship government. In Paris, they signed a petition. It was the longest petition against a politician. And first they were planning to cover the Eiffel Tower with it, but the city opposed it. So they went around the Louvre, the Museum of Louvre, and they made it green. Here, 2 weeks ago, the petition, Ahmadinejad is not my president, was covered the whole Brooklyn Bridge. From the beginning of the Brooklyn Bridge to the end of the Brooklyn Bridge, carried by people. We walked the whole bridge. For 3 nights, we were at the hotel that he was staying and basically showing our oppositions. So this is not going to stop. It's going to continue. We need people to be aware of what's happening, because really now, especially for the younger generations, it's so entangled. Like our friends are our Facebook friends. We communicate through Facebook, we communicate through internet, and I have friends from different, they live in different cities around the world, and I'm still, in connection with them, like they live next door. So the world has become like it's smaller and smaller. It's not about the different countries, it's about like one human family. And we should be aware of what's going on in different countries. And especially now here in the West, we have the technology. They should not use it to help oppressive governments. So that's it. If anybody has any questions, please ask me.
I have some questions, but I'm just going to change.
Sure.
Well, I'll ask a question while he's changing. So I think it's really exciting that because of Twitter, we're hearing about these things that before would just have been unknown to us. But how can we help spread the word, or keep information flowing? Is there anything we can do to help?
Well, some of us, we write blogs on a daily basis. And actually, I think like talking about it, it helps to people. So many times it's like a kitchen conversation. Do you know what happened in Iran? Like, what do you think about Iran's election? And so many people don't know, and perhaps you can describe to them what happened. And so many times you talk to people that they have a kind of skewed idea about people of Iran because of the media. I mean, it always helps to create a conversation, create curiosity, and leave it to people that they can do their own research.
If you were talking to someone who's not familiar with it, is there a place you would recommend they go to sort of read up about it?
Well, again, now, because previously, like a few years ago, people were complaining about media being biased and media being very full, basically getting the information that they want to give out. I mean, now we don't have that problem. Media cannot control our lives anymore. Now we have internet. Before, yes, the only news that we could hear was from TV, from Fox News or CNN or MSNBC. Now this is not the case anymore. Now the responsibility is really on us. We have every channel to go research. We have the internet. There are thousands of blogs, hundreds of independent news agencies out there. I think all of us, we have responsibility to research our news ourselves and make a decision, and not just sit in front of TV and basically make TV the only source of our news. Yeah, I mean, if they would go out, and I think it's a responsibility actually for every person, and not blame it on the media.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that my heart goes out to Iran, the Iranian people.
Thank you.
I have known so many Iranians in my youth and how they felt about the Shah, and then they got this government, Islamic Revolution brought this horrible government, and they are so upset, and I wish there was some way we could help as an American. They were always looking for peace, freedom, as far as I know.
Yes.
People I knew. And I know in Great Neck there's an Iranian-American Association. I don't know what they're involved in. I never contacted them. I was tempted to go demonstrate at the UN.
Yeah, that definitely that helps, because every movement by Iranians and non-Iranians, it usually gets recorded now. it gets televised, it gets to be put on YouTube and Facebook, and they see it. In Iran, they see it and they appreciate it, they love it. I mean, when they know that they have the support of international community, it's a big boost of morale for them. They really like it. I've seen so many videos that people from Canada, Americans, Germans, Europeans, they try to like sing a song in Farsi if they're a musician. Some artists, they made some portraits or sculptures of Neda, the girl who died. Neda is the name of that girl who was killed on the street. That it was very horrible seeing the detail of it was captured on the video. That's why it affected so many people. And that's a girl who Barack Obama shared his Nobel Peace Prize with yesterday.
You shared it?
He kind of dedicated it to Neda.
I hear what you're saying.
So people, these efforts are really appreciated. I mean, even if it's like last few months, it was nice summer. We had some gatherings at Union Square, the UN events. Like people came. It was.
Do you have any contact that we could get
sure.
in touch with?
Do you have Facebook account? I don't know. You don't have a Facebook account, right? It's basically it's a social networking internet website that it connects people with each other, and this is how we get our news usually. Like this is the biggest interaction with our friends happening on Facebook. Maybe another time library would give me a time to talk about the new websites and how it actually is changing the lives of younger generation.
There's no such thing anymore. There's no such thing anymore as picking up the telephone and saying, hello, how are you? That's non-existent.
Yes.
Do you have a Facebook page? Or do you
Have the website or
you pull it up?
Yes. The name of the website is actually whereismyvote.New York chapter group. It's on Facebook. But if you guys want to, you can send me an email. My email is Ali Emami at gmail.com. At gmail.com. Gmail. And if send me an email, and there are basically a lot of communities and groups out there that you can register and you get their news on a daily basis, and anything like whatever happens about Iran, they usually send updates and invitations, and they love to have you guys at their events.
Thank you.
When you say they shut the internet down, can you give a few more details? Did the internet absolutely cease? You couldn't access any website whatsoever?
At some point they did. They actually shut down the whole internet, but for like a day or two. But when actually it came back up, they decreased the bandwidth so much that it was pretty much impossible to upload and download video.
So that's why Twitter became important, because it uses a little bandwidth, because it's only
right.
How much was just straight SMS?
Yes.
Cell phone. You could still do SMS messaging even when the internet was down.
Right. I mean, Twitter was much easier to use than uploading video to YouTube, for example. But they started shutting down like Facebook and Twitter and Facebook.
So if my technical understanding is right, the reason that Twitter took over is because they have the open API, the application programming interface, which means that other sites can post, what's posted on Twitter is shared with other sites. Other sites can take the information from Twitter, so while they could block Twitter, they couldn't block the next, all those different sites that take Twitter information and index.
I mean, really, Twitter didn't take over. It really, they used these websites for different purpose. Like Twitter was kind of messaging, giving your message out. Facebook was inviting people to the events. YouTube was for like a journalism, just whatever is happening, just send it out as a video. And it was really important because now the government of Iran, any brutal government, they're very good in denying, saying that no, we have freedom, our country is actually more free than America, nobody got hurt here, and these are lies, but now they can't deny it. There are like multiple people taking videos of the same murder, for example, by the government agencies. They have videos from the police shooting at people. They have videos of the police vandalizing the cars and raiding people's houses. They can't deny them anymore. If it happened without YouTube or basically any video, it was pretty hard to, fight them back. And there are always some people, they kind of doubt it, even in Iran. They live in kind of remote like suburbs, and they don't know what's going on in the big cities and how people are opposing the whole government. They doubt, say, no, this is not true, really. We don't think that police would be that brutal. But now we have, hard evidence and videos of how brutally the government attacked people and they oppressed people.
How much do people understand how to use things like proxies to access YouTube? You pretend that you're in another country by using a proxy, and then you can get through to the site. Is that information widely available? There are some people that, for example, my mom, she's 60, and like she's asking me questions that I can't answer. She was like, can you run this proxy on your laptop so I can connect to it and get to the YouTube? I read recently someone in Turkey, because Turkey blocks YouTube, and someone said, even babies now know how to switch DNS. So I said, no, Mom, I don't know how to do it. And I'm a software engineer, so. So they're getting there. There's some people that they're like they know how to do it better than their friends, and they become the contact person. Like people actually go to them and they all get together. Like my mom and her friends. My mom knows how to do so. She sits behind the computer, and all her friends they gather behind her. And
where does your mom live?
Tehran.
Tehran.
Yes. Tehran.
But you're saying it's a double-edged sword because it allows the government to better track what's going on.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so in some ways, Ronald Reagan famously said that it was the fax machine that brought down, the Soviet Union rather than, the Star Wars. And it would seem that in some ways, in terms of anonymity, this is a step back from the fax machine.
But it's worth it.
Fax machines disappear.
It's worth it. In the long time, the use of it is much more important than the cons. That actually the government, they can actually track people. Yes, they can track people, but how can they actually go and arrest 40 million people?
I mean, that's the thing, is that it's so instantaneous That's, you know, that's the...
Yeah, and the use of it is so massive. It's being used by the masses. And when everybody's using it, yeah, how could you go out? Like here, like people download music. Everybody download music. You can't really go and arrest. I mean, they tried to do that, putting lawsuits against some of the users to scare other people, but people still download illegal music.
But
or it's a bad illegal...
In the weeks subsequent to the big demonstrations, there were a lot of arrests, and were they still analysing this information and figuring out who was doing the messaging and sending and going and finding them?
Yes. But again, it makes it unique because there is not one person or one group of people who tries to move the masses. That everybody is a revolution now in Iran. It's it's a personal decision. I mean, now I'm here. Really, I don't have any organization. I just know these good people. They gave me the opportunity to come here and talk to you guys. Everybody in Iran, based on their own personal capabilities, they're trying to do something.
Are you aware that right here in Queens, we recently had an example of a guy who was the FBI raided and took all his equipment? You heard about that?
No.
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yes, he was at the global, I forget what the meeting was, when they had the thing about globalization protest in Cleveland a few weeks ago. Yes. This guy was set up in a motel with police scanners, and then was sending out messages by cell phone to the people who were in the protest, telling them what the police were doing so that they could maneuver their protests around the police. And he's sitting in jail right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty big. Can you just explain a little bit more about how Twitter has been used to people in Iran?
Sure.
Go ahead, Jackson Heights.
So she's asking how Twitter was used for people's movement. For those of you guys who don't know what Twitter is a Twitter. Twitter basically is a device, or basically is a website that allows you to give out personal messages, personal status about yourself. Like people use it, like Ali is giving a presentation at the library right now. And I send it out. All my friends, they are on my Twitter, they see me, or they don't see me, they know that I'm talking to you guys. Or basically you are in a good restaurant and you just tweet it out that, I'm having the best food at this restaurant at this corner. So people know where you are, they know the restaurant, maybe next time they want to try it. Actually, one amazing thing, the street cars, the food carts on the street in New York City, now they started tweeting out where they are. Like they say we are at the good ones that people actually like their food because they have to constantly move, they can't be in one location. They use Twitter. They're like, we are on 49th and 9th today, and people go to their cars and buy their food. So this is how...
Now this is through a cell phone, or how do you Twitter?
You follow people.
You do both.
What?
You follow them. You can sign up to follow them.
No, she's referring to the technology.
So I don't have the internet connection, but those little things on my cell phone are my friends telling me what's going on. Right. Those little ones.
Oh. And then actually right now when I'm doing live tweets.
Now this is a cell phone?
But you can do it on a laptop.
I'm doing Twitter right now that has the speed. I'm doing live tweets. And I'm broadcasting out to hundreds of people. Broadcasting out to my friends, and then my friends are broadcasting out to their friends, and then their friends, and then their friends.
So although the meeting is here, it's going wide.
Yes, it's going worldwide.
Exactly.
Very good.
Right.
Very good.
Did you discuss the film Persepolis?
I've seen it. I liked it. Yes, I've seen it.
I mean, that's a good film.
It's a beautiful film.
That tells you learn what the situation is for the Iranian people.
Yes.
For decades.
I mean, I don't know how many of you guys seen Persepolis, the movie. You've seen it, Elaine?
Yes.
That's actually, it's a cartoon. It's a cartoon made by a girl, Marjan Satrapi, in Paris. It was one of it won so many awards last few years. It's basically the life of that little girl. She was a little bit older than me when she got out of Iran, but I connect so much with her. It's unbelievable. I can see that. I can see me in that that movie.
How you experience
Yes.
your life.
Yeah, the same experience, and I'm sure a lot of us, probably all of us, all of my generation, they share the same experience. This is about a little girl growing up in Iran during the Shah, when at least there was still monarchy, but they had freedom at a personal level. And her parents, they're all revolutionary. My dad, my mom, all of my family, they were revolutionary against the Shah. Most of the people were at that moment because we were fighting against monarchism back then. And the next thing we realize is that we are in a prison made by these religious mullahs, that they didn't want to rule first, but they changed their mind. They were part of the people fighting against the monarchy, and as soon as revolution was successful, they took over by eliminating most of their rivals and like socialist parties, the nationalist party people, communist party, and somehow they took over.
But couldn't that happen again, in the sense that right now we hear about the ordinary people, the population, so many people are on Twitter, and they understand the same things, and they want the same outcome. But we don't hear that the police are getting involved in this. So maybe the police and the military forces are standing back and waiting for things to change, and then it becomes a police state after that.
No, actually, police is very involved in attacking people. They're officially shooting at people.
Well, I know they are officially shooting at people, but you misunderstood me there. What I meant to say was, the police are on one side at the moment.
Right.
So is it possible that they're standing, while they're protecting the government at the moment, right? Is it possible that they're not why aren't they getting involved with the people?
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Sorry.
Right.
Why are they getting involved with the people, like in an underground situation? If they have the same feelings, like you said. But most of the people in Iran feel this way now.
Right. Actually, that's true. They are. There is a big divide in the government itself. Right. The Ministry of Information is getting, basically, they just fired like 40% of their directors. There are people in the police that they don't want to be in the police anymore. They quit. The same as Revolutionary Guard. I mean, these people, they have serious problem because, they have to deal with their family. And when you have to be a dad and go home and sit on a dinner table with your son who just came back from rally.
Right.
And as a son, you know that your dad and people like your dad are shooting at them and their friends.
Yeah.
It's a really complicated situation for those guys. in the high rankings of police, or even low
It's good
rankings.
to know. They're defecting from the army and the police forces.
Yeah, there is a huge divide now in the police force. I'm sure that people, they don't want to help the government. They're much more. They probably few percent of those guys, they're happy with what they're doing.
So is YouTube now blocked in Iran, or is it now you can access YouTube?
It's so cyclical. Some day they decide to block it. Some days they just open it. I don't know what's happening today.
How good is internet access in?
Internet access, actually, government purposefully tries to keep the bandwidth really low.
So what does the average urban?
I think the average like 128K probably.
I mean, so YouTube is 300K at the minimum, right?
Yeah, they can buffer it and
And so
pause it for a long time.
So you pause it and wait for it to happen.
Yes, and people in Iran, most of the use of the YouTube is to upload and not to watch it because they can see what's going on. The purpose is that people outside of the Iran, they would know what's going on. So they would, create an upload, they put it on an upload. It takes hours to upload.
Is there any kind of underground network working, like mesh networking going on? Did you know that?
No.
There isn't that much in America. I mean, they have it in San Francisco. It's the Meraki system. I don't know. Have you heard of that?
No. What is it?
Well, it's basically like a mesh system. So it's just Wi-Fi nodes that all connect to each other. So if you want to talk to someone across to the other side of the city, it just bounces around the Wi-Fi nodes until it gets there. In the same way that things bounce around.
I hear you. Actually, I think that's a very good idea. Actually, I thought about it. I suggested it to somebody. I think so. They have to have a kind of internal communication system, not censored or monitored by the government.
Yes, an open system. Yes.
Right, and at any point you can get an uplink to outside the world.
In America, because we have pretty strong central systems, so you can through fiber, there's fiber connecting. People don't really need to do this so much, but it seems to me that mesh networking may take off in these kind of situations faster than it does here. The one laptop per child is actually a mesh. They actually work as a mesh. And that's the whole system. They made it like that.
So they have wireless
receivers. If you're sitting in a school in the middle of Africa, all the kids can talk to each other on their computers.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah,
I think it's a very good solution for the Iranian situation.
I mean, the thing that's also true here is that we shut down the regular TV and opened up this spectrum. That's spectrum that will go through walls and is much stronger. You can get much further with it than what's currently used for Wi-Fi. And so there's a bunch of new devices coming out. They're restricting them because they don't want to interfere with other things that are, people who have Broadway, who have microphones that run on the same kind of frequencies. But those devices are soon coming that will be much stronger. They call it, Google famously called it Wi-Fi on steroids. Mm-hmm. I think that that spectrum, use of that spectrum, and the mesh networking is going to could very much change the face of things by the time you get around to the next election. When is the next election?
I hope it's not going to come down to next election. I don't think it is going down to next election. I think the movement is going to be successful by end of next year, hopefully.
By when?
End of next year, hopefully. I mean, that's my personal hope. That's my.
I'm curious, speaking from an outsider's point of view. There were movements on Twitter that people change the colors of their avatars to change their location and turn on. I was wondering, from your point of view and from the people you know, if that had any effect at all.
It did, yes.
Can you say how?
Well, two things. One thing that when people started using Twitter, actually the government agencies, they were going on Twitter searches, and they were trying to find who are these people that they're sending these tweeters out, so they can go arrest them. They were going specifically looking for people using the Twitter from Tehran, from Iran, having this particular pro-revolutionary avatar, for example. So at some point, everybody came to their help. Everybody changed their location to Tehran. Like even if you're living in New York, you would change it to Tehran. Everybody changed their time zone to Tehran time zone. And everybody uses those avatars. It confused the police.
Well, I mean, actually, because earlier you were saying that they were using the Cisco provided software to determine where people are, who's tweeting from and Iran. So I was curious how changing locations in the interface helped.
Right. You know, when the information is so much, there is not a lot you can. If everybody is talking about revolution, you can't just scan the internet for the keyword revolution and go after everybody and arrest everybody. You have to basically focus on this group of people and then start wiretapping them and then go selectively basically arrest them. I think it creates like a layer of confusion at least. But that was one thing, and again, people in Iran, they really appreciate any kind of support. It's a big boost for them.
I make the point that I made before is that the open API, you could use other things like TweetDeck or...
Oh, certainly. I was more questioning if really there was an impact by changing your icon or changing location here in the States. I'm a huge Twitter supporter, huge Twitter user. My point during that point is I was watching people change their icon colors. I had never looked at anyone who came and asked me about it. My answer was, have you written the state of content? Have you written your senator? Have you written the president? If you haven't done those things, that's far more important for, I think, affecting change than it is to change the color of an icon or change the location.
And you know, it was pretty much exciting too. Even for me, like when the news comes out, now everybody's changing their time zone to Tehran. It gives you energy.
But does it give the government some legitimacy to claims that outside interference in internal affairs?
They have no idea about it. I mean, what would they say? Yeah, it's not like government of America is like tweeting out. It's like regular people like us.
So how is the Iranian government now to catching up on the technologies so they can tracking who's doing what in Iran? How good are they?
They're pretty good. Thanks to Nokia and Siemens, they do their jobs effectively.
Because I heard that there were American companies helping the Iranian governments to track the protesters, and which caused a lot of problems with a lot of Americans and also the world. Because, these are the bad guys. They're helping you side with the bad guys. Is that still happening right now?
I don't know of any American companies. The only company that I know it made a big noise was Nokia Siemens. And
Nokia and who?
Siemens.
What about Cisco and the deep packet inspection? You don't
I don't think I think they're using Nokia technology in Iran because Cisco is an American company. They're boycotted by the Iranian government.
So I was following all the events on Twitter, but I wanted to get your perspective on why the mass movement that was on Twitter didn't go into Facebook. I mean, there were updates and Facebook pages made, but it seemed that it really stayed on Twitter. It didn't really translate that way.
Do you have Iranian friends?
I am.
You're Iranian. At some point, like every time I went to my home on Facebook, the whole thing was just news from Iran. I don't know.
I mean, I had some people who were, on Facebook and updating their status and everything, but it seemed like the majority of people who were interested in it just stayed on Twitter. And I wasn't sure if that was because, the news coming out of Iran was mainly on Twitter and just staying there.
Surely the mobility of the thing about Twitter is that you can run it from a mobile phone.
Well, you can do Facebook from a mobile phone too.
Right.
Yeah, but that's a mobile phone.
So I just didn't know if there was any technological difference between the two like that, or.
Do you mean that the connection that the people of Iran, the way that they connected out was through Twitter and not Facebook? Or basically you're talking about the whole news staying on.
The whole movement seems to be really based out of Twitter, and then sometimes go onto Facebook. Obviously YouTube is used for the videos, but the strong branding was with Twitter, it wasn't with Facebook, and I just wanted to see if you.
I see. Oh, well, I personally had a different experience. For me, it was mostly on Facebook actually. I'm a bigger Facebook user than Twitter user myself.
Just before I came, someone emailed me a thing which was a very detailed analysis of the statistics of the Twitter, and the one-ton. And I don't have it with me, but with the Internet Society, New York, if you go to our website, I'm going to post, to the thing about this, I'm going to post a link to it. And it's got charts and everything of exactly, what actually happened.
All right, thank you very much, guys, for listening.